back to the NFL Matchup Show, only on ESPN, Matt Bowen. Don't you forget it. Our next matchup, Seattle Seahawks at the Dallas Cowboys. We always talk about foundation football on this show. You know, Seattle, in their foundation, what they do best, they run the football. Tops in the National Football League. But the Cowboys, sneaky good on run defense, 5th in the NFL. Those are the numbers, Greg. Show us how it works.
Yeah, Seattle is a zone-based run offense. Okay, they do that with Wilson under center and out of the gun.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are a 4-3 one-gap defense.
Good matchup?
Very good matchup. It's an exciting matchup, actually. And what the Cowboys do is they can line up and play it straight and play their gaps, or they can use what we call gap exchange principles. Let's take a look at each as we watch them starting against the Seattle Seahawks.
Here, the Cowboys were in their 4-3 over. To the tight end side, DeMarcus Lawrence was the 7 technique, and Tyrone Crawford was the 3 technique. To the backside, Antwain Woods was the 1 technique, and Taco Charlton was the 5 technique. All 4 were single gap defenders. Sean Lee and Jalen Smith were responsible for the 2 remaining gaps. The objective? Eliminate the gaps to create a flat wall. This was a zone play to the right. Charlton set the edge, and Lee attacked his gap. The edge was set, Lee showed up, and Woods held the A-gap. That forced Carson to look for the cutback. Focus on Crawford. He beat the cutoff block to stay in his gap, eliminating Carson's cutback. The Cowboys also feature slants with gap exchange principles. Again, you see the Cowboys in the same 4-3 over. Lawrence the 7 technique and Crawford the 3 technique. Here will be the gap exchange on the Saquon Barkley inside zone run. The double slant, along with 1 technique Malik Collins, canceled all inside gaps. That forced Barkley to cut back to the unblocked linebacker Jalen Smith. Leighton Vander Esch played off the inside slants and was in position to play the cutback.
Very good piece. Problem for the Cowboys is Seattle keeps bringing it and bringing it and bringing that run game. And I know you like to bring it on the Bowen breakdown, and that's what Seattle does on defense, especially on 3rd down. They have the most sacks on 3rd down of any team in the National Football League, and Dak Prescott will get himself sacked on 3rd down a little bit.
Yeah, and they also have the lowest blitz percentage in the National Football League. So how are they getting there? It's a combination of coverage, fundamental defense, which we know, and athletic front 4 that can get home the quarterback. I'm going to show you a great example here in the matchup versus the Chargers.
Let's bring it.
Here the Chargers are 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end in the football game. And they align in a 2-by-2 set with a stacked formation to the top of the screen. The Seahawks from their nickel package. It gives you 5 defensive backs in the field. They're playing cover 1 lurk, Greg, with linebacker Bobby Wagner as that underneath lurk. Let's start to the top. Quick out route with the inside sit. I want you to focus on cornerback Shaq Griffin here. I love this coverage. They got no wasted movement. Drive to the hip of the wide receiver. That is excellent, aggressive coverage. But I also want you to focus on that underneath lurker. Look where Bobby Wagner is. He drops into the throwing lane. Now you have aggressive coverage over top, linebacker underneath. That's going to force Philip Rivers to come off his front side read. Now let's go to the back side of the formation. You know what you're going to see from the Chargers, Greg? High-low concept. Underneath sit route, outside wide receiver, running the dig. And again, we're going to talk about man coverage here. Start inside with the safety. He's going to be in position to drive top down on the tight end. And look at the aggressive coverage outside, this time from Trey Flowers. You're not going to get a free release against the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to be physical, even a little grabby. That's what forced Philip Rivers not to come off his backside read. You do that against the Seahawks, those big boys are going to get home up front. Now let's look at it from an end zone copy and talk about the protection. Here the Chargers are in 6-man protection with the running back on a check release versus the linebacker. And what do we get? It's not just a straight rush. It's a twist stunt with Frank Clark and Jaron Reed. And I like this end zone copy because we can see Rivers again. Nothing to do front side. You can't go with the football there, can't go to the football backside. That allows time for the tackle to get outside on that twist stunt, attack the edge, wrap, and you take Philip Rivers and you put him on the turf. And this is what it is with this defense. Yes, Greg, you'll see some split safety. It's really single high. Cover 1, cover 3. Fundamental technique, physicality, and a front 4 that will go after you.
And you have to look at the field sometimes and say, how many Bobby Wagners are on the field, right? Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 1? Is it 2? The guy is everywhere on third down. He's everywhere in the red zone. And the Cowboys have had 50 red zone possessions, converted only 48% of them into touchdowns. That's the lowest percentage of any of the 12 playoff teams. Not going to beat Seattle that way, Matt and Greg. Stay right there when we come back. Oh, you're going to love this. Up next on the NFL Matchup Show, we got a brand new look at the Chargers and the Ravens. Wild card weekend on the Matchup Show rolls. Sal is here. Matt Bowen is here. No time to fool around. Let's get to our first matchup. It's the Houston Texans at home, Indianapolis Colts. It's the third matchup of the season between these two teams. You go to the last two, Andrew Luck combined. Now, combined. 863 yards passing. That's a very big number against the Texans. So I want to go foundationally. Cover 2 defense of the Texans against Andrew Luck and Frank Reich's passing game.
Yeah, especially on third downs. And I went back to the film. I found 2 great examples that highlight how Frank Reich can dial up zone beaters to beat this 2-deep defense. Let's take a look at them right here. Let's start in the first matchup of the season with the Colts aligned in a 3-by-1 set. Here the Texans are in their dime package. That gives you 6 defensive backs on the field. Pre-snap out of that 5 across look, Greg, linebacker Zach Cunningham is going to drop into coverage, with the Texans playing that 2-deep shell over the top. Let's start to the trip side, with Chester Rogers clearing out in the seam route and T.Y. Hilton breaking inside in the dig route. Remember, in cover 2, you're going to pull that inside linebacker down the field. He's got to run and match that inside seam route. That's going to create the void now, Sal, for T.Y. Hilton to break back to the middle of the field. This is exactly what you want on third down, especially third and long situation. A clear open window for Andrew Luck to drive the football.
Come on.
Now let's go to the second matchup of the season, down in Houston. This time, T.Y. Hilton and tight end Eric Ebron aligning the stack set to the boundary side of the field. Again, the dime package from the Houston Texans. And that 5 across look. This time it's going to be Whitney Merciless, the linebacker, dropping into coverage. Why? Because they're going to play cover 2 over the top. 2 deep safeties, your corners rolled up in the flat. Now look at this here, Sal. This isn't very complicated.
No.
2 curl routes in a third and long situation. But watch the stem of T.Y. Hilton. See how he presses inside to occupy that linebacker? He can wall him off. Now look outside. That corner, he's playing the proper coach technique, sinking the flat. Now there's a monster void there for Eric Ebron. And all you do is sit the route down, turn around, and again, a clear throwing lane for Andrew Luck to drive the football down the field. And really, I was surprised at how much cover 2 Houston played against the Indianapolis Colts. And this is all about coaching, okay, if you're Frank Reich. Down and distance tendency, defensive tendency. If you expect cover 2, you draw up routes to beat it, and Andrew Luck can throw the football.
That was inside the matchup 1. Here comes inside the matchup 2. So nice, we're going to do it twice.
There you go.
Deshaun Watson has been sacked by everybody this year. The number is 62 sacks, most in the NFL. The Colts have sacked him 12 times in 2 games.
There's no question poor O-line play is a part of that. But Deshaun Watson is kind of walking that fine line right now at this point in his career between holding the ball too long and not seeing it and then fleeing the pocket too early. There's a balance there, and he hasn't really found it yet. The other thing at this point he's not real strong at is blitz recognition. And there was a great sack by the Colts in the second matchup that really reflects this.
On this high red zone play, the back and tight end free-released into routes. The 5 offensive linemen were responsible for the 4 down linemen and the Mike linebacker, Darius Leonard. The Colts came with a 4-man overload pressure. The first 2 were Marcus Hunt and Al-Qadim Muhammad slanting inside. They were picked up by the center and the left guard. Let's go back to the snap. Leonard was the 3rd rusher to that side. Left tackle Julian Davenport was responsible for him. Davenport's eyes went outside because slot corner Kenny Moore became the 4th rusher. He tried to hold him off before committing to Leonard. Moore became a free rusher. He was Deshaun Watson's responsibility. But Watson wasn't aware of it, and he got sacked. This was excellent design by the Colts. Moore was aligned over the slot. he wasn't seen as a threat to blitz. With middle linebacker Leonard accounted for, anything outside of Leonard was Watson's responsibility. Watson saw Anthony Walker play coverage and believed he was protected. He never considered Moore a blitz threat based on his original alignment.
Great stuff, Greg. Stay right there. Up next on the NFL Matchup Show, it's the showdown in Big D. Hint, it's all about running the football with that man right there and, of course,